Hi, this is Amy Frelinger, and I am joining you from my living room with one of the people I admire most, Jeff DeLarme. He is a certified financial planner. I know him from his involvement in the community for a long time and want to say, Jeff, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Amy. Happy to be here.
I would love to talk to you about how to manage our finances in this time of COVID-19 crisis.
Yeah, so I think for starters, this is as good a time as ever to create a financial plan. If you don't already have one, I think this is a great time. Figure out where you are now, where you're trying to go, and it might be a little tricky to figure out how to get there. But that's where, if you can't do it yourself, you might hire someone, and there's some great resources out there that investors can use.
They're a good place to start.
Yeah, so if you don't have an advisor and you're looking for some assistance in building this plan, I would go to letsmakeaplan.org. It's the Certified Financial Planner Board website. There's a free search. You put in your zip code, and it'll tell you where the local CFP practitioners are, and that might be a good way to help you build a plan and get started.
And so, where do you start?
So I think the best thing you can do if you don't have a plan is just grab a legal pad or pen and paper and just jot down your different assets, your savings accounts, money markets, CDs, investment accounts, IRAs, Roth IRAs, 401ks, your income. Put it down on paper. Figure out step one, where are you today? And then the fun part is kind of figuring out where you're trying to go. So I think that's where you can start.
So designing a roadmap to get from A to B, just like you do when you go to the grocery store or on a road trip, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
So talk a little bit to me about short versus long-term goals and planning, if you will.
Yeah, so it's certainly a crazy market. So I get a lot of questions about, is this a good time to invest? And, with everything that's going on in the economy or what's to come as a result of this coronavirus. And I just think, one, you should refer back to your plan. And again, hopefully you're going to create one if you don't have one already. But I look at it as two things, short-term or long-term. So if you have a short-term goal, that to me is less than 5 years. That money really shouldn't be at risk in the stock market. It really should be in the bank or somewhere secure like a CD. If your goals are more than 5 years in the future, I think right now there's actually quite a bit of opportunity to invest in stock markets and the bond markets.
And from historical context, I know that the markets can be volatile. What would you tell us about that?
Yeah, so I think certainly, day to day, week to week, even year to year, the market tends to give you pretty unpredictable returns. But if we kind of pan back a little bit over longer time horizons, at least 5 years, but 10 and 20, things look a lot smoother. And so I think that's why if you look at 5 years or longer as a time horizon, that's the minimum I would start at before you really keep money or put money to work at risk in the market.
Okay. Can we talk briefly about the CARES Act? I know there are personal and business components to it, but can we talk about some of the high points of the personal benefit that we might get from the CARES Act?
Sure. So the CARES Act is this $2 trillion, they call it a stimulus plan. It's probably more of a stabilization plan to help keep businesses or get businesses back into business and to help individuals out that have been impacted. And so I think some of the key points are stimulus checks for individuals and families who qualify based on income levels. I think from a financial planning standpoint, a waiver of required minimum distributions, that's huge. What that means is if you've inherited an IRA or you're over age 72 and you're taking required minimum distributions, for 2020, you do not need to satisfy that distribution requirement. So that's huge. There are unemployment benefits for both W-2 employees and what's unusual is also for self-employed folks. So you could look into that. There are really quite a few things in this CARES Act that are worth exploring further.
And I believe there's been some extensions of deadlines, right? That could help us financially?
Yeah, so I know that taxes have been pushed back. Check with your tax advisor or CPA, but tax day went from 4/15 to July 15. And where that really can help investors is that extends out the deadline to make 2019 IRA, Roth IRA, SEP IRA contributions. So if you haven't done an IRA contribution for 2019, you still have a couple more months, which is really kind of a silver lining in this whole thing.
That's huge, giving people a little more time to get their finances, as you say, stabilized. So if I hear you clearly, number one, make a plan, maybe go to letsmakeaplan.org to start that. Your second point?
Yeah, I think second point is take a look at your goals. And if they're less than 5 years, I would keep that money out of the market, keep it in something more safe and secure and predictable. If your goals are more than 5 years, I think you should take a hard look at getting invested. And if you are invested already, staying invested. I think there's some opportunities there.
And then the third thing is the CARES Act. See if there's some financial benefit for you to help, as you say, keep things running. Anything else that I missed?
Yeah, I think that's it. I think if you can do these things, your future self will probably thank you. So thanks for having me, Amy.
My present self thanks you, Jeff. Really appreciate your time and your insights.
All right, take
Stay
care.
well. Thanks. Bye.